Hello and welcome to the news. I am Saja Brater. Coming up this evening, Nemban Clinic finally handed over to government. Inter-party committee trained on dialogue and mediation capacities. Gambia for All party embarked on first ever rally in Kiang Manduar on Saturday. And our guest today is the director of National AIDS Secretariat, who will be making some clarifications over some statements that were made a couple of days ago. But first, we'll begin with the newspapers. The Standard newspaper is reporting that Barrow warns opponents of epic battle in 2021. National AIDS Secretariat boss clarifies. Kafuta VDC responds to allegations. Let's take a look at some of these stories in detail. Barrow warns opponents of epic battle in 2021. Addressing the National People's Party supporters in Brufut on Saturday, President Adama Barrow warned critics and opponents to go back to the drawing board and tighten their belts ahead of the 2021 presidential elections. Today's meeting in Brufut and Sinchu Alaji, organized by a few individuals without the direct involvement of the NPP Central Committee or myself, should send a signal for those who are claiming that I don't have support to tighten their belts, he added. The Gambian leader repeated his adage that one can claim ownership of the UDP, GDC or any other political party, but no one can claim ownership of the people who can go anywhere they want. Nobody owns anybody here. People are aware and they have common sense to know what will benefit them and what will not. But as Barrow said, when his development projects are completed, there will be enough proof for the Gambian people, arguing that he is very confident that his work will speak for him and gain him greater trust and confidence of the Gambian people. National AIDS Secretariat boss clarifies. The Director of National AIDS Secretariat, Usman Baji, has said his comments reported in the Standard last week were taken out of context by many. On Tuesday, this medium carried a report from a press conference hosted by NAS, at which Mr. Baji was recorded on tape as saying that his office is to implement a grant from the Global Fund specifically for, among other groups, addressing the needs of people living with HIV, AIDS and sex workers. However, yesterday, Mr. Baji submitted a statement to this medium saying that his statement has been misconceived and misinterpreted. He will join us later on the show to clarify. Kafuta VDC responds to allegations. The embattled VDC of Kafuta has rubbished talks questioning its legitimacy in office, including the purported theft of community funds and the registration of a business in the name of its members. At a press conference in the home of the Alcalo of Kafuta last Saturday, the VDC debunked the allegations leveled against it by the concerned citizens of Kafuta. The concerned citizens, who are threatening a legal action against the VDC, alleged, among other things, that the VDC was handpicked by the Alcalo and that it opened a mining company purportedly in the name of the community of Kafuta. They also said the VDC since 2017 has not called for any Congress or annual general meeting. That's it for the Standard newspaper. Let's take a look at what the Point is saying. NCCE warns against a deep political division in Gambia. Dabo vows to block illegal voter registration from Senegal. Let's take a look at those two stories. Yusufa Bojang, Program Manager, National Council for Civil Education, has said that the Gambia is deeply divided by politics, tribalism, and other issues. He added that such has the potential to cause a conflict. Mr. Bojang made these remarks at Quinala in Lower River region as his office embarked on a 10-day nationwide civil dialogue outreach with local and traditional authorities on women and young participation in decision-making and peace building. He pointed out it is important for them to meet people and sensitize them on the dangers associated with conflict as we are approaching an election year. Now, Dabo vows to block illegal voter registration from Senegal. The Secretary General and party leader of United Democratic Party, lawyer Ousseynou Dabo, has accused the Barrow-led government of making plans to start rigging elections by allowing people from neighboring Senegal to register as the Gambia braces up for a national voter registration. He has, however, vowed to ensure this does not happen, saying they will never allow anybody from Senegal to register. Dabo took to Twitter on Saturday and said, "When we were in the opposition, we fought against cross-border registration of voters, but last week I had a minister saying that there is pressure on land in the Gambia and that pressure has resulted in Gambians migrating to Senegal. I find this to be false," Dabo said. That's it for the newspapers. Let's go for a break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And now, Ndemban Clinic, which has been used as a treatment center for COVID-19, has been finally handed over to government following the last phase of refurbishment. Jaka Sise tells us more.
Saturday marked the launching and official handing over ceremony of the refurbished Ndemban Clinic in Bakau to the government. The clinic served as a treatment center since the pandemic began earlier this year. The first phase of the refurbishment of the clinic was first initiated by the CEO of TAF Africa Global, Mr. Mustafa Njai, in April, and then a partnership was created with the UNDP, WHO, and the World Bank for the second phase, which began in August to October.
Under the TAF Africa Foundation, financed and renovated the first phase of this establishment in April, and it was completed in May. The second phase, which was in partnership with the UNDP, we commenced in August and then completed in October. We used up to 150 workers to complete this facility, and mostly Gambians. We're very proud to be part of this great initiative. The facility hopefully would have 92 beds that should help in combating this pandemic and seeing Gambia come out of it much healthier. We hope that this facility will be put in full use as soon as possible, and it will be maintained in the best way for the foreseeable future.
The WHO country representative expressed delight for the job done and also highlighted the importance of partnership in development programs.
I'm very happy, very delighted to see that we have reached a stage where we are going to open this facility, which we have been waiting for quite some time to see it completed. And this required the expertise and the resources, different resources from different stakeholders. The UN agencies with technical and financial support, the World Bank with financial support, with also the private sector, also with the technical, the collaboration and inputs that made it really ready now for use. So this is a demonstration of what we actually anticipate to achieve the SDGs, where partnership is the only way. There is no one entity that can achieve anything. So this is a very good example that we can use for the future also to implement other projects or programs, development programs.
The UNDP representative was also at the event and had this to say.
As a development agent, UNDP was committed to invest, and we took resources from other programs, because everybody knows that when we started our year, we would not expect UNDP stepping in the health sector. But because of the nature of the pandemic, our role, our international institution, is to support the Gambia in setting very strong health systems that can help to address all kind of shock that can happen And this was why we would step in.
The Minister of Health, Honorable Samate, stated that this is just the first step and there will be more development in the healthcare sector of the country.
The Gambia is moving on because we cannot continue to stay where we are. Of course, we cannot dream of going back to where we came from. But where we are itself is not good enough, and we need to move on. And I want to tell this gathering and the people of this country that the government is committed. We have a very committed government that is committed to enhancing the livelihood of this country, the people of this country. We have a government that wants the people of this country to live like if they were in Europe or one advanced Middle Eastern country. The structures they have there were built by people, and they use stone, they use cement, they use sand, and most of the items that we use here were imported from those countries. How come Gambia cannot be like one of those countries? With the attitudes, with the commitment, with the sacrifice, patriotism, and love for country, we can do it. And the health sector wants to be a pioneer in this crusade. The health facilities, this is going to be the standard, and the march has started. Edward Francis is going to be next, and the other facilities, they all need to improve. It is doable, but the attitudes need to change. We don't have to see, in fact, we have to start seeing public property even more valuable than our own properties. All right, thank you very much.
Welcome back, and now I am joined by our special guest on News Review today, the Director of National AIDS Secretariat, Mr. Baji. Welcome to the Fatu Network News Review, sir.
Thank you.
This has been quite the week, I assume. This has caused quite the condemnation. It has attracted quite the condemnation from Gambian people. Walk us through what you meant and what you felt was taken out of context, and help us clarify.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be part of this program. As you know, December 1st is designated by WHO as World AIDS Day, and the day is commemorated by way of press briefings, conferences, and a host of other events. This year, because of the COVID situation, we decided to limit it to a press briefing and statements made by key partners and, of course, the health sector and the UN agencies. So it was in that context that we organized a press conference with the media fraternity in the Gambia. And the question about sex work followed after all of us made our statements, including myself. And the question was, the statistics that we gave indicated that among sex workers in the Gambia, HIV and AIDS is estimated at 11%. And it was a very genuine question because the guy was trying to compare that statistic with the general population, which is, according to the recent National Sentinel Surveillance, 1.5%. And he said, if that is the case, then what are you doing about that? Because then that particular group is considered as a high-risk group and a key driver for HIV in the Gambia, which is very true. And in response to that, we said in our provision of services relating to HIV and AIDS, we don't discriminate. We don't mind how you get the disease. So when we are reaching out with HIV services, we reach out to everyone with the objective of preventing and controlling the spread of HIV/AIDS. So I went further to say we have done a lot of work in that regard, and usually health workers are sometimes provided. We reach out to them. If it is sensitization, if it is treatment, if it is about support or care services, you can't leave them behind looking at the prevalence of HIV. So I indicated in my statement that in fact efforts are on the way to mobilize additional resources for the provision of support to people living with HIV, and this is nutritional support to people living with HIV and AIDS, including sex workers. But in that context, sex workers living with HIV and AIDS. This is not something new. It's something that the program was doing years back. We used to spend between $12 to $13 million annually to provide support. The idea is HIV is a lifelong treatment. When you are on medication on a daily basis, the medication requires that you are nutritionally fit to be able to be on that medication. So there are a few of them, even among those that live with the disease, who are unstable. They're not doing well even with the medication. And you need to support them nutritionally to be able to continue taking on the medication. So it was in that context that I said we are trying to mobilize additional resources to support people living with HIV who, even in that cohort, living with HIV but are unstable, then they need some sort of nutrition. And I said COVID has impacted almost everybody's livelihood and income, which is a fact. There is nobody who would say there is no sector in our society that was not affected by COVID-19. As a result, there are people who are struggling to make ends meet. We know very well that a lot of activities during the public emergency were halted. So it was in that context that I said the support that we intend to provide will go to those living with HIV, even if they are sex workers but they have the disease. We owe them that support to be able to prevent them from spreading the disease further, but also ensure that they live a healthy life.
Do you think this could have been avoided if people went beyond the headline? Because the headline made it very specific, talking about sex workers.
Yeah, so that's the bone of contention I had with the particular news outlet. And I said, in the first place, I did not mention in my statement that the NAS is going to use COVID funds. This is not COVID funds. National AIDS Secretariat does not manage COVID-19 related funds. And so if you say sex workers to benefit from COVID funds, we know who are the targets as far as COVID funds are concerned. This is in the context of HIV. We were speaking as the coordinating authority for the response to HIV and AIDS. But given the fact that COVID has also impacted on the provision of services relating to HIV and AIDS, what else do we want to do differently? I quite agree the uproar would have been lesser if the caption was not that sensational as it was carried by the particular news outlet.
It's also important to clarify where the NAS gets their funding from, because most of the subventions that you receive are not actually from government, they come from international organizations. Yeah. So I think it is important to also clarify that part.
Yeah, thank you very much. The HIV response is quite an expensive enterprise. And so as far as I know, there is no developing country in the world, especially in this particular sub-Saharan region, that is solely funding its response to HIV and AIDS because of the cost. So in 2001, the world came together under the leadership of the United Nations to say we need a public-private partnership that can mobilize resources globally to be able to ensure investment in the response to HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And that is the Global Fund. So since then, the Global Fund has been one of the most successful public-private partnership as far as investment relating to HIV, malaria, and TB is concerned. So we mainly receive funding from the Global Fund to ensure that we provide services relating to HIV and AIDS, ranging from counseling and testing, and we don't limit ourselves to the public. We test anyone who we think is at risk of HIV and AIDS. So we also provide treatment. If you are found to be HIV positive, we link you to treatment and care. And this we do even with the sex workers. We provide them testing to make sure that at any point, if the program realizes you are positive, we take you to the clinic where the services are provided so that you take drop. The idea is to make sure you don't spread the disease to the public. And this is what we've been doing over the years as a coordinating authority and as mandated by the HIV and AIDS Control Act.
And of course, religious leaders have also jumped into the debate. They actually believe that your statement is a statement that is trying to promote prostitution into this country. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. I've received apologies from a few religious leaders who took up to their members to condemn me. I think on their part, some of them said they made a big mistake. I mean, Islam has laid down conditions for you to fulfill before you point an accusing finger to a fellow Muslim, especially if it is something to do with adultery. I've contacted a lot of scholars and they said, if you accuse somebody of adultery and it happens to be false, that sin is more than the adultery that you are trying to condemn. So I've forgiven all of them, like I said over the phone. I mean, if you go to the National AIDS Council, which serves as the board to the National AIDS Secretariat, we have the Supreme Islamic Council as a member of our board or the council, and we have the Christians Council as well. The idea, I was personally the one who made sure that those people are represented in council, and the idea is to make sure whatever we do is within our religious and cultural bounds, that we don't do anything that conflicts or that goes against our religious values and cultural values. And the Supreme Islamic Council has been a very key partner. We've had a couple of engagements on HIV and AIDS. So it's unfortunate that from a religious point of view, the issue was not fully analyzed and there were no attempts to make inquiry as required by Islam. So it was taken from the newspaper to the member and different interpretations were given. Let me say this, apart from that religious aspect of the situation, there is also another dimension of it, just to say how much that issue has been misinterpreted by the public and the different stakeholders. The American embassy, for instance, when they read the article, they were concerned, and their concern was it is a sort of resemblance, it resembles trafficking in person. So for them, when they read the article, they were concerned that it has some element of trafficking in person. But they did not stop there. They did not only read the article and then stay in their office or do something else. They came to the secretariat. It's the only institution that walked into our place to find out more information about the issue. And I think I commend them very well for that. So when we explain, they maybe, I don't know, maybe they're still investigating, but at least we provided a response and some details about what we do. That is commendable. I think our society should make attempt to research and find out before forming opinions about things that are especially reported in the media also. And talking about the response of the different stakeholders, you've also mentioned that you believe this whole issue was politicized. How so? Yeah, I mean, I'm not pointing at a particular political camp, but it is an open secret that a lot of audios, you know, were shared with different people, you know, reacting in a different way as far as the issue at hand is concerned. I want to make it equivocally clear that the government never, ever provided funds to the NAS to support sex work or sex workers in this country. So some people were looking at it from that angle. Of course, the funds that are coming from the Global Fund comes through to support government's effort in its development agenda. But we have not received any funding from government to say, this is how we want you to support sex work or sex workers in the Gambia. So I was saying it was highly politicized from that angle because, I mean, different camps were interpreting it differently, and it has created that confusion in the general public.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baji, Director of National Aid Secretariat. Thank you very much for coming through to the Fatu Network News Review and clarifying what you actually meant initially. Thank you very much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
We'll go for a break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thank you. And now, the Gambia for All party, headed by veteran politician Bibi Dabo, on Saturday embarked on its first ever rally since the inception of the party. The first rally was held in Kiang Manduar, where the party leader told his supporters that GFA government will make agriculture one of its key priorities. More in this extended report.
Julo pare
Mr. Dabo la delegation o mol be kondonna
o wi mo salmina delegation Mr. Dabo
kabri mbita mbolo songo wolu
o wi do ay manino esigo bolon songo
Dr. Sanyang wolu
o wi Dr. Sanyang
Bojang wolu
o wi Bojang
mbal be bismillah la
o wi on fo momon wiya bismillah
maintenant bo fa bismillah la jang
o wi mo wiya boy mako bismillah
yo so ndolu kontan da bi bake
o wi debe be belti
alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin
o wi be jettuma Allah
alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin
be jettuma Allah
alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin
be jettuma Allah
kiyankolu
o wi kiyang nabe
ala en so fennela
o wi Allah won ko okki men
nyanda ngamuta
o wi ko poddude nangen dum
kiyankolu tol barara poddi ko kono bakele
o wi kiyang nabe en tambu me politique
andu nyanda
o wi teden poti
nga nyaale silang
o wi perten gide men
mol kana ken ndol kana ke mole selen na damati
o wi wotan wonane ni be jengi
ni la hajol jarata
o wi si hajuma be
yam fanyamo kono
be pero men lagde do
manta tala moy kotake
o wi en gonda dum jeptan
Bakar Dabo mba fele ko
o wi be mbiya Bakar Dabo
ning ala sonda
si Allah jamma
ndol bide dandana state house le
o wi debe be do non doftano state house
kolu
o wi kiyang nabe
alim beñi muta ño fe
o wi nangoti ren
ndol letam Bakar
o wi enen ji Bakar
ni ndol mam Bakar muta
o wi sen nanga
asalo moli amutal de
o wi ngandon yimbe nangu
kale ka fo jele
o wi on jima kafu
ale ka fo jele
on jima kafu
ali nga Bakar muta mbultan ni flola
nangen Bakar juude sa
mo kana mo nene kuma ken sawla jang
neddo wata mo
kana mo nene kuma ken sawla jang
neddo wata joynu neddo
ali nga kunken fanna
o wi mbaden koy men koy
ali nga kalanken fanna
o wi mbaɗen koye men huuɗe
mbal danna
o wi momen to
alinga nyaale
o wi perten guide
alinga nyaale
o wi perten guide
mo bebe fola
o wi haala ka
mbeñina kelaliye abe zero
o wi ɗum fof ko zero
bigake
o wi jikki ala he
so kiyankolu
o wi
kiyankolu alinga nyaale
o wi perten guide
alinga nyaale
o wi perten
mbal
guide
danna
o wi momen ferro on jarama
so len ñu oye be ñoo uyu si leen
naali kumandiroje fon natali danku
ñun gis nañ naka la mbooloo mi tollu ak naka la mbooloo mi em ak naka ngeen ñu tertoo
ako nga jele kafoɓe ñamen aliyem bendu ñamen adun aliye kumolu mennu fo
waaye nag seen karta yi leen jëna soxla
ako men kummayata je wole ma alla carte o tin sulata wolle la
parce que karta mooy taaj ñi si place
carte o wole kam man sa sindi
te karta yooyu noonu na ñu ngi leen a ñaan ngeen jox ko Bibi Dabo
wo carte o mbal danila aliyadi Bibi la
kon
ako atabe GMC le mama kandila parti
may Ahmed Fati
waaye
bi ma déggee ne Bibi Dabo taxaw na dama cross capage ma ñëw
ako biraya moy ko Bibi Dabo funtitale ako funtita mayla parti o kono la nata
laftela Gambia banko diata anata Gambia laftela fayo Gambia banko diata ambayi gunyul banko diata fayo Gambia banko diata enati dabo Gambia banko diata
Gambia la condition on be men kono bi
o wi Gambia condition mo gonden mo hande
mbota bata men kono
o wi way manino tambare nde immiden de
du bar hansa na condition do be nyamen
o wi a joni condition mo gonden mo
me yalon ko nen ko mba fola so manda be enter la janna
o wi ko ganduda mbiiden enen kala dum bimbi subuka tawan men
si taman ser do mandin foyde jetran
o wi way manino waden tama set seda tan
molu balu nyanyim banko kan a koleta fo tambita ko abeno namto komando
o wi ngurdam dam tampini dam jellum no dan wonnoni boyma bom
kato banko
o wi kala leydi
molu balu nyalo
o wi ngurdam yimbe de
akatara ku loren ku dantanne kan
o wi e kulleje dantang dum darodo
Gambia
o wi Gambia
mi ko mo men kam men molu balundi
o wi mbidan ko wurnata yimbe
wala mo senote
on woni dema
ni ko seno nin si do ko be jele be ando ko be je fifen do ko be je
o wi si wiam dema o wi neydi hen o wi demanga hen o wi ko awete dum hen
brin kol bel betaren non
o wi nde kulle de mojuno
Gambia digo mo keme tawor wulo ka balu senole la
o wi duway manino temdare pop capanne jerado be pop ngurnam maade ko dema
yo wokola
o wi nden
ntolla balu nyambe lori men kan
o wi duway manino ngurnam no darorden ni hande
nim fula jambala
o wi sidum jogi dimma
wala mu ko ni safaro ndam malbe safar la nyoma safaro
o wi on woni ngurnam enen cella no enen koy men no nyawdotirten
mbeta kan
o wi eden jaha
min tourisme ko lun tangol kana nge bendu janga na faso je fana la tan na fal kan
o wi todi sabe be ngara lundanga ko be ngara o yibenne bismoden be o kebenen nafaka seeda
bare nata tara maralo kono banko kan
o wi kono duway manino jogeden der leydi e
maralo men tamandiro
o wi duwayno joganga he dognago
ninko aman seno fasa nga ko de andira aginata seno la
o wi hande dum walla dema o itaw itum dum kono dum yejinma demanga
bari jammu sene bankol to manduwar jang
o wi te manduwar do ko leydi ndemobe
anen maw faltoliye
o wi ay si o halna men non
demaro me yalon ko sene la kaso do banko bulu man sakunda bulu
o wi mballugo ngo ganduda ngo ndemo hebata e jungo laamu
ali do man den lonjele brin ko manto
o wi odo nen ganduno hunde bila boyma
brin turo la kola
o wi bila e awdi
kata tractor la pour membe seno sono andila
o wi e tracteur deji ko ganduɗa on yalñata demanga
kata jambandola engrais
o wi bila e engrais
kata extension staff menu be na ibal mako la be do ko kala nyamen
o wi e be gonannoɓe agriculture ɓe ngara ɓe men kolla ni remrede ni ligorte
akum fadula ni ngale alla sanjano ke ali alla be ni tiol dala i wafinya pour tiobe wafi sotola iba alba iba bondira bul nyama ali ko do sotoje
o wi si en ndemma en kantin mano gerte jeeyirde pour si en jeeymade keɓenen hunde
wol be mo bundalati
o wi on fof ko dame ɗe ganduɗa
masakunda ka fasaro ke sénégal la
o wi ɗum waymanino laamu ngu mon waktuda ngu jingana ndemoɓe
bare gambia doronte de banko banko nin senobe je min sal fe sénégal ñol to mali akata o sifala ñam
o wi wona gambia tan kala leydi ndi ganduɗa sénégal mali ɓe ganduɗa ko ndemoɓe o wi noon ɗum yarata
bare bring ñim bata boy tan to la banko ka jang
o wi kono bilande tampare ari he leydi men ne
aliaje o de marok akata ñamen
o wi en yima ngan ballugo ngu no yarata
na man tarde
o wi si ɗum tarda
woto to mando baba kana mumeke
o wi nden ɗum arata bon fereng
aya tinna ko
o wi ɗum mi yima wondenam
1994
o wi 1994
janni soldaroɓe boyla banko kayɓe banko tala
o wi ɗo e soldaroɓe yango e leydi e ɓe ƴefta leydi ndi
ninga taman serota tiyo dorona tiyo
o wi si o ƴeftum taman serta ko ti guerte tan guerte
gambia sénégal ika men dow ku
o wi gambian naɓe ko liggoto ko
masakundala makoyro kan
o wi e dow ballal laamu
akata fo toon wuli keme ani wuli muwan
o wi ɗum yara e toniji ujune temdare e ujune nogas
wonɗoɓe wuli keme fan ani wuli tan saba
o wi goɗe ɗen ɗum yara e ujune temda onin ujunare toneji ujunare he onin e temde capantati
bi yimɓe tembo men to bi
o wi ande ɗo tolniɗen ɗo
gambia sénégal mumen ni wuli tone wuli muwanga soto yakola
o wi ɗum waymanino hande ne mo ujune nogas si gambia naɓe kemma ɗum ta en momma
nin mosi o taman sero la
o wi neɗɗo laara on hande pour taman ser mum
iɗum tiya dow ko mo kummalati molu balondiña to
o wi tel rem ko guerte ko hunde wonde fayda he gurdam neɗɗo
mone meyalon ko la soto flotaɓe toon wuli kilin kata wuli kemene wuli tan saba sa anata wuli muwan dron
o wi ɓe ganduɗa ujune temdare wonanno e ujune nogas walla capantati si tawma joni wiyam ko ujune nogas tan
woto gamre woyayi tandila ko banko murta koma ñamen
o wi nde noon hollirma leydi ndi yarum bawo
ni tata beŋol la dow kuota
o wi si a laarma liggey dammimo
wo mur koma sifa yewla taraje
o wi a tawan gon yago bawone kisa woni toon
ni e bademo fana ko konto juuɓe
o wi jaaɗa handa dow ɓe maayo tone
o fana konto a murta wala ñama
o wi nangoɓe lidine onne noon ruttori ɓawo
o futata tembe to
o wi ha ɗum tolni e dulare
luntagolo chinese solu
o wi hoɓɓe ɓe chinese naɓe
na badin kotogol meɗe botan sénégal
o wi e musidɓe men goɗɓe immorɓe sénégal
ko baɗo ko a tota wala dorna bulo
o wi si a larma ɗum tan toni ɓen tan jogui liggey
a warama tolla e banque dingolo
o wi dole ɗe enen ɓiɓɓe leydi
wolɓe yewolɗa bondije
o wi ɓen foof itta hen
so niyaje bata warata bake banque o kan
o wi si a yima tamparde mawni e leydi e
to ñalama mano men kana ada lafatale
o wi gonga maaro aroko ko ɓeydi
a warama
o wi doole de
aka bonan damen to wolali ada lafa
o wi to koto immorta ɗo ɓen ɓeydi
bari banque ka ala économie ka tama ñamen
o wi kono économique leydi no yaratani
ninga tuma alfana la tiyo ka men ka koɗo de ala fana ka yiriwa nun
o wi si tawma enen ne ko ndemeten ko guette ɗe on ne ɗum yaaha yeeso
oto bajala ko mani ɓoto men al ka sannun kemenin feng
o wi nden a yiyat boto maaro mo coɗanoɗen temdare e hunde
nin mbi kaale ko wuli kilin
si ande en mbiyam ujunare
alba filla bate jawo ala kata satuma al fana la soto fana la fata wala ñam
o wi en mbiyat ha ɗum muuside kono en tinta ɗum ɓaydi enen e keɓal ngal ɓeydin
bare gambia la soto talata
o wi kono keɓal gambia ustim
ka balu men men ka import na marchandise o dal certa sento
o wi ko ganduɗa ko gurdam men o guureten o wi on waymanino on ƴeeŋi dow
wole bata landi bake mol kan
o wi on tampa on addani men tampare molanade he leydi e
wode o situation wala fa ngat nafan mo jamaaɓe je dendegol wol yamuta ko sika banko bula doron katum man jikko soto ñi banko ɗon mbita bantale
o wi on waɗi mon yakar waɗi ha sukaɓe kewɓe mbi puntal leydi ndi saɓe galata yakar nder gambia ngaɓe puntal ɓe ɗaɓɓoya
iɗum woɗum aman ay nafa soto kato ka dolu haraje o ko ɗoman ɗin soto je famma koye
o wi ɗum waɗi nafa ka sabu waɗi hen ɓe ganduɗa ɓe keɓat arsugue maɓe ɓe gadda
ha baral sal hakkilo tout
o wi kono gacciten kagillaji
woto kuute me yalon ka be labanna
o wi on wona hunde nde ganduɗa wanditat
kato kata bankolo men no kan
saabu leydi to ɓe jahata to
ay fotata semboto wol fana man suulela je
o wi a yiyat ɓe jaha toon ta ɓenne cohlaɓe
ati watal sa moy ko avion e mol murni nan
o wi waktu fof nanen avion artirma yimɓe
amanda woto fana
o wi ɗum fota ɗon
doluɓe je i ka fo niyo fangole silo kan
o wi wonɓe goni hen ɓen beela maya ɗum heewa e gorgal
e bagela ko banko
o wi a yiya leydi
ila molla baluwo
o wi gurdam yimɓe ɗam
ita lola nyen kanko no dindigol bita outle
o wi a darnata ɗum pour joni sukaɓe men ɓe tan jogoto men ɓen jahoɓe leyɗe
o koriolen ɗungoto bari wote labanna
o wi on ko koriyen nannata menen kono on wanditta
eɗum bankola murkomo
o wi leydi ndi ko nawatandi ko ɓawo
ñin sanji muwango kono konto kono
o wi ɗi duuɓi nogas kondimaɗi
gañin e baluwola koleya men fo
o wi ɗam gurdam ɗam o haali ɗam
amanda wodronna
o wi ɗum fota ɗon tan
mi ajuɓe bunda do fanaga
o wi si a latani banggal gonga
banko dingolo
o wi ɓiɓɓe leydi
banko kan
o wi dow leydi e
pour ye balu e ni jino
o wi pour ɓe keɓa gurdam maɓe ɓe mbawa foftin
asatomo ndiman kuke kutela
o wi ta si a waɗa hunde heɓtama
ali ajo fana murta koma ñamen
o wi on jima on ɗon ne ruttin ɓawo
yemo jelle muta ye soron mayel tuɗol hande kiitiyo man kefan
o wi yimɓe onon nanga udda mayel tu ha e ñawore waɗaka sa
yemo jelle muta ye fa 15
o wi e yimɓe ono ɓe nangi ɓe mbari ɓolum
anen tol fon la dala jang kulikunda inata boy mol ka ye lipa ye fa ye samba
o wi ay deɓe ɗo kulikunda ɓe ngari ɓe ñani dow yimɓe ɓe lappi ɓe mbari ɓe yiɗa ɓe nawi ɓe
yo iɗo fana mu molla balwo kono batale fe
o wi onne ko nder gurdam tampare
amanda wala fana
o wi ɗum fota ɗon
fango dammal tema
o wi enen tan hangde men
kiyang nin jara tema
o wi kiyang e jara
misilmol nin gourmetol tema
o wi hangde julɓe ɓe e gourmetaɓe
jolal nin saraholol tema
o wi jolaɓe e sarankuɗoɓe
fulol nin serorol tema
o wi fulɓe ɓe e serelaɓe
ha naali ka korosi
o wi siɗen dartido
wali o warta bake
o wi ha fitina momo mawni
wali o nin sobonata
o wi fitina ari e coɓuye
moɗum oɗum fana mo na banko e komatale ti
o wi onne nawal leydi ndi ɓawo
sanji tallul ni lulu koma
o wi duuɓi 45 ɓawo
birin na ntolla alfalum famañolu
o wi deɓeli famaɓe bamaɓe en
iko angale tubabole ko na banko dinnam famo ba sambalale
o wi ɓe mbi angale naɓe totte min leydi ndi min nawandi
a keta kanglo kan koyi
o wi ɗum waɗa e konngol lamgo
fango dambal tema
o wi enen tan koye men
ntol fana nen angalewol tema
o wi hangde men e angalen naɓe
wala men ko ne banko dinna
on woni siɓe tottu men ma leydi
nta marala ñiñom marala sifala
o wi min jogota ko ngoɗo joga ko sifa
mais pate si samba batandi
o wi wondinam paate tampinat samba
mais yalon ko anata banko be kan
o wi ko ganduɗa ko ɗum ari e leydi e foof
ni ñanta banko be ya soto
o wi si tawma leydi ndi foof poti ɗum dañ
ya samba kara kilogola
o wi ɗum nawe sengo wotto
ñin ɗon bali ko kato gourmetole muute
o wi ɓeɗo kade wiye ɓe gona julɓe
wamba ya samba dolla
walla wonɓe goni hen totte
o kiyan wota sotola
wiye kiyan heɓta
wo be mum marali jawole te
o wi on foof ko joga ko bongo
wo wala nata la koleya kan nga koleya men fo
o wi on ari fawi dow kitteɗe o wiide
woyatinna banko fongo siyo koleyata
o wi on waddi ha jooɗa ko nder leydi e hitti
militaire mansakunda meyo ke
o wi minitri mansakunda mbaɗɓe ɓe on
wolu boto je ñawo ña
o wi ɓen immiɗon nan kala noɓe immori
kana ñownene soɓoɓe siarin banko kam bak
o wi wota combotiriren ha hande ɗen coɓotiri de
kuyaɓe siarin soɓoɓe siarin
o wi metteɗeɗe keewi ɗen coɓotiri
pati o dowluɓe jang
o wi patiji goɗɗi ɗiɗo
wol ke singo ke bankoto ke singo tu bankoto
o wi ɓen ɓe gama ɓe lappa leydi ndi
e ka fo ali banko ɗum bulu
eɓe mbiya totte min leydi ndi
wol hammone ngen ye banko ɗuɓol ye jowo bon ɗol to
o wi ɓen hamme maɓe koɓe totta leydi ndi ɓe jopto goɗɓe ɓen
dolu safo ko
o wi wonɓe goni hen mbiya
ali banko dinna
totte min leydi ndi
wolo hammone nginambo ko
o wi ɓen hamme maɓe woni
nim banko ɗum tan tolu bulu
si leydi ndi ɓe keɓɓimdi
sadio ko meni e kuruyake komanto
min jiyam ɓe mbaɗɓe ɓe bonande ɓawo
ñe kova ka ɗum mbaɗigollam kukana kela
o wi min ƴefta min cuuɗa ɓe saabu ko musidɓe amen ala hunde heɓtaɓe
ko banko maromo soɓoyaleti
o wi joga ko leydi ko soobe
Bringa banko kanen tuba bolo bulu.
O wi nde o lamdi leydi ndi e tubakoɓe.
Kombe toñala tamala ni loi.
O wi ko gonga he loi ɓe jarata he leydi he.
Nsi banko do ku pour mo la balu ñasa sono ya.
O wi ɓe liggo leydi ndi ha gurdam men weeɓa.
O sarti sabo.
O yiɗi sartaji tati.
Na banko la independence do wala.
O wi leydi ndi non ɓe keɓri independent.
Min nata futa bi tambe tembo to ting.
O wi sen garma joɗide nande ɗo joɗiɗen ɗo.
Banko nata ɗum ñimbata ba kono.
O wi leydi ndi arma joɗi men de tampare.
Woto hakkiltu o sita.
O wi nden accitgo hekkil fonma.
Be banko ɗum na men no bulo.
O wi ɓe totteten ɓe leydi ndi.
Be banko ɗum na men bul hakkiltu o sita.
O wi ɓe totteten ɓe leydi ndi accitgo hekkil fonma.
Kaari tenin kaari le wuluta.
O wi mine kaari jibintina.
Ntolle be bota foñi waban tolle be bota badibu.
O wi mine ma ko ji foñi walla mine ma ko ji kabata walla foñi.
Bar ni wo ko carte o dinna pour sinjo foñi gole men ken be jola wala la.
O wi si taw ma ko yo on totta kam carte joni min kabata pour ko foñi na mbadi kam go mi yobabe.
Wodo tamam mo carte tioti.
O wi nden an jom carte de.
Foni hakkilo kacha.
O wi joɗo battida e hekkil mama.
Fo ite ni banko dingol wala haajo ko molete o joro wala mo fa haaji ko ne be molla.
O wi ndako an on woni haajuma ndako bibbe leydi on foti wonajuma be yoptago.
Ngamere banko la haajo.
O wi haaju leydi.
Yin kolya men ngafoten.
O wi di haajuji kitte de o wi.
Men si fere keno ayo tala.
O wi mbawdo mo wat fere a usta on.
Wali o men be molte ma banko kan.
O wi fitina gonno mo hangde yimbe leydi.
Asi fere sota o wali o fana tala.
O wi o daña fere ko ganduda o usta don.
Ndol Gambia for all de.
O wi Gambia for all.
Mambul promise mali malahi ko be lulu o sambala na jang.
O wi o wada men laidi wonina mo wadda do kangede.
Malu lahi fana ko be fen sambar soto sambala mammen soto.
O wi be mbada men laidi be ngatnan men ko be ngalade.
Barin sonta ko.
O wi kono be njabi.
Ntol sonta ko na londo e mendina.
O wi be njabi ganda ma be nga ko tattibe ko.
Nyin Gambia banko afanko folo mu senolote.
O wi Gambia pour yaduma di yeso premier o ko dema.
Wodon tol preta seno fasa la.
O wi nden debe be jingana ndemobe.
Do you want an affordable yet exquisite home or a service plot from TAF but do not know how to go about it? Worry no more. Let me walk you through the process. 1. Book a viewing with us. 2. Agree on a payment plan you are comfortable with. 3. Fill out a reservation form. 4. Take your time to review, ask questions, and when satisfied, you can proceed by signing our sale agreement. And 5. Pay a deposit and sale is confirmed. From there, you can walk into your home and enjoy the real TAF experience, or still be a proud owner of a service plot from us. It's that simple. Book a viewing today. For more information, please call 376-2333 or 776-2333.
That's it for News Review. Do join us tomorrow if you can. Thank you very much for watching and good night.